Look, we all think we know the story of Notre Dame, right? But I promise you, there's a part of it you've probably never heard. It's a story that starts with that famous fire, but it ends with this: invisible danger and an absolutely incredible rebirth.
Oh man, you remember the fire, right? It was 2019, and the whole world just stopped and watched, completely heartbroken as the flames just consumed the cathedral. It felt so personal for millions of people, even if you'd never even been to Paris.
But here's the thing. What happened after the fire went out? That's the real story, the one most of us totally missed. We're talking about a toxic threat that just silently blanketed the city, and that's the mystery we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so to really get the impact of that fire, you have to understand what was at stake. Notre Dame isn't just some old building. It's this enduring symbol that's been around for centuries.
And its history is just wow. Construction kicked off way back in 1163. I mean, think about that. For almost 900 years, it's gone through this cycle of falling apart and then being brought back to life, which leads us right up to the Great Fire in 2019, and then its grand reopening in 2024. It's this constant rhythm of creation and preservation.
You know, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around now, but that 2019 fire, it wasn't its first near-death experience. Not even close. By the 1830s, Notre Dame was literally crumbling to pieces. It was in such bad shape that officials in Paris were seriously talking about just knocking it down. And this is where the power of a really good story comes in. It's brilliant. Victor Hugo, who absolutely adored the cathedral, wrote his famous novel, yep, the one we know as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he did it for one reason: to make people fall back in love with the building. And guess what? It totally worked. The book was a smash hit, and it basically shamed the city into saving and restoring its masterpiece. And that restoration? It paved the way for this. Fast forward to the 21st century, and you've got 12 million people visiting Notre Dame every single year. That made it the most visited spot in all of Paris. It had become a true global icon.
Which brings us right back to the moment where it was all put at risk again, to the night the world just watched in horror.
April 15th, 2019. That date is just seared into our collective memory, isn't it? A fire starts during some renovation work, and in just a matter of hours, the roof and that famous spire, they were just gone.
Okay, now here's a number that is just mind-blowing. 460 tons. Just try to picture that for a second. 460 tons. What on earth could that be?
That was the weight of the lead that was covering the roof and the spire. 460 tons of lead that burned, that vaporized, and was sent shooting up into the sky over Paris. And this right here is the absolute crux of our story. And this is exactly where the narrative pivots. We're moving away from the tragedy you could see, the flames, to the consequences you couldn't. This is about the scientific investigation into the fallout.
So it begs the question, right? Where did all that lead go? I mean, all that toxic metal didn't just vanish into thin air. So where did it land?
And this chart, this gives us our first major clue. It's showing airborne lead levels from a monitoring station that was downwind from the cathedral. I mean, just look at that insane spike right after the fire. That's the smoking gun, people. It's undeniable proof that a toxic cloud was unleashed over the city.
Okay, so that lead in the air had to come down somewhere. So scientists went out and tested the soil. And this chart shows you exactly what they discovered. The soil samples taken downwind from the fire, their lead levels weren't just a little higher than other places, they were way over the French government's own safety limits.
So when they did all the math, the researchers figured that about 1 metric ton, a whole ton, of extra lead dust settled into the topsoil. And that's just within a 1-kilometer radius of Notre Dame. 1 ton.
And let's be crystal clear about why this is such a big deal. Lead is a powerful neurotoxin. It's literally destructive to our nerve tissue. There is no safe level of exposure, and it's especially dangerous for kids. So this wasn't just some abstract environmental problem, it was a very real public health crisis hiding in plain sight.
So as the dust started to settle, both literally and figuratively, it became clear that the fire had left Notre Dame with a new and honestly a much more complicated legacy.
I just love this contrast. Think about it. Back in the 1830s, the cathedral was saved by a story, by a novel. Victor Hugo rallied an entire nation. But this time, it was rebuilt by the world. A massive global outpouring of support, money, and expertise came flooding in. And all of that incredible, multi-year effort led to this moment. After 5 long years of painstaking, meticulous work, Notre Dame officially reopened its doors on December 7, 2024. Its structure is secure, its art is restored, and its beauty is back for the world to see.
So, as those massive doors swing open again, Notre Dame is, without a doubt, this powerful symbol of resilience. But that invisible fallout, it leaves us with a really tough question, doesn't it? What are the hidden costs of preserving our past? It forces us to look beyond the breathtaking beauty of our heritage and really confront the unseen dangers